Flexbox. Having family here, I was also traveling a lot this week. Monday, today was quite productive. Checking if I can use Flexbox, one of the sources that it's really worth recommending is Can I Use? I always come back to this page when I want to check if the feature is already supported. And there are always known issues mentioned, and you see which versions are supported to which extent, where there are some problems like partial support due to a large amount of bugs, or only supporting a given syntax. And what's great also about this page, canIuse.com, is that you also have resources suggested. And here you can find a lot of useful links. One of the links that I found here, just by searching the page, was this one, which is the Git repo about known Flexbox. This one. It's a Git repository about Flexbox issues and cross-browsers workarounds for them. Another very useful resource, and generally the page that I use very often, is CSS-tricks and CSStricks.com. And on this page there's a complete guide to Flexbox. It's got a lot of images that can help you to get how it works. We have also info about prefixing Flexbox because because of this limited browser support, still you have to use auto-prefixer. Very often from the comments here in this page in CSS Tricks, you can learn a lot. It's like a second pack of information additional to the main article.
Living in Spain, you notice how various this land and this world is. So you have the juxtaposition of something that is really expensive with something that is really cheap, and with people who don't have money to live. Coding nowadays, it can be learned for free. That's why I love initiatives such as open source, because everybody can use it, it's for free. So what you need to pay attention to and what you need to pay with is your time. In majority of other branches, in order to learn something new, you have to pay. Coding is a bit different. So to learn coding or to learn design, sure, you can go to the school, you can go to the university, you can pay for the courses, you can pay for boot camps, for tutorials, and I also use partially these sources. But there are tons of free materials. So saying that you don't have money and you want to learn to code is not an excuse. What you need to invest is your time and your willingness to learn, and being consistent, and coming back to code, coming back to new tutorials, looking for the sources, reading a lot, watching, subscribing, being inquisitive, and being simply curious. When you see a great blog post, look what else do they write. When you bump into a great tutorial, look what other series they have on their YouTube channel. So simply start doing. Lack of money is not an excuse. Money helps, but you don't have to have it to study. You don't have to have extra money to pay for the courses. Sure, you have to have the money to survive and to eat, etc. But in order to learn, there are a lot of open source projects which are for free, and there are a lot of groups in code community that you can really use if you want to learn coding. You can also go to the local meetups. You can also visit local groups devoted to the given language. You can visit various forums. You can learn from YouTube tutorials, from blogs, from Medium articles. When I started learning to code, I discovered that majority of paid resources have trials. And before deciding on any paid course, you know the service, you know if it's really worth. But also, if you don't have enough money to pay for it, this tutorial that they give can also give you the basic knowledge that you need. If you use these trials that are free from each service, still you gain a lot of free materials. So learning to code, you don't need to spend a fortune. Good day, it's Wednesday and my article about my first path that I took while learning to code has been just published. It already has 150 upvotes and 9 comments, so it means that on average more than 10 people like this article per hour. I will provide the link to this article below in the video description, so if you are interested, have a look there. As I told you, you can really learn for free. Recently I bumped into Flexbox.io on Gitter, so if you have eyes open, there are really a lot of free resources that are really of a great quality. You have to have just only your eyes opened and look around what's possible, and remember that Google is your friend. Trying to build the first step with Flexbox, I will start with navigation. This is the final version of my navigation that I was working on Flexbox. It's like the example to have a bit of practice with Flexbox navigation. It's pretty responsive. It changes according to the width of the viewport. I've just implemented the pricing list with Flexbox. It's just the desktop view right now, but this pricing list is built with Flexbox and with SAS. It's one of my first snippets of code in SAS, and because of being used to regular CSS, your hand goes to semicolons and brackets. In Codepen, you can view the compiled version, so you can view uncompiled SAS and compiled CSS. In order to compare, checking if everything is compiled correctly later, especially if you try SAS for the first time. And I also used Flexbox here for this pricing list. It looks like that. That I've implemented with using Flexbox and SAS is this single line booking form where you can choose number of rooms, date, and how many people will book the room. It's like, simple code snippet that may be used for booking the rooms, like conference rooms in a company or something similar. I'm using SAS here. Some simple wrapping in media queries, and
also I'm using Flexbox.
Let's revise Flexbox. I got a box here and I will try to revise what I learned with it using this box. Imagine this is the container. This is the div that's got a display flex. This is the div. Having the display flex, we treat it as a parent. This is flex row. When you change it to flex column, so when you go to direction column, they will be squeezed this way. By default, they do not wrap. By default, the elements do not wrap. So imagine we have more of the elements. The simplest option is to say wrap, and these two extra elements then will be wrapped by default to the next line. The default order is 0. So whenever we change the order of an item, so whenever, for example, this item number 1 will change the order to 1, and by default all of them right now have 0, it will move here. Right now it's 0, 0, 1, so setting it to -1, we move it to the beginning. It's pretty useful for responsive layouts, for example. When we talk about having the order different on mobile and different on desktop, 3 elements, and they will be justified center. They will be simply in the center. When we talk about justify content, we can also go to flex start and flex end. By flex start, it means that all of the items will be moved to flex start. It's flex direction row, so flex start is here. Another justify content is flex end. As a result, all of the items will go to flex end, because this is flex direction row and this is the end. It's good to remember when you get lost where is the main axis. So when it's a row, it's this way, so it's a horizontal line, and when it's the column, when it comes to flex direction, it's from top to bottom. Have a look at the description of this video below, because you will find there a lot of useful links in order to learn and practice Flexbox.
It's Friday evening, and this week this article was also a huge source for motivation for me. Thanks to Christian, it's also available right now in Chinese. You will find the version under this link.
I got a lot of feedback connected with the article that I wrote. And being able to hear so many voices on my path so far and what could be done differently and what's inspiring for them, it was something that made my week. This week I've also gathered 12 brownie points for helping other people on Gither, and I got currently 477 brownie points, so I'm missing 23 to my 500 points challenge in order to start next level in Free Code Camp. One of the biggest problems that I met this week was nesting in Flexbox, because going into levels of nesting sometimes can get tricky, and you have to be really careful with that. Next week I want to work more with Flexbox and SAS, so I want to do some more UI elements using them. And I want to also rediscover this grid system, because Flexbox, as I read, it's like pretty well for smaller components, but not necessarily for, you know, huge app layouts. And it seems to be pretty fun later to build the app just using Flexbox and grid system and not ready framework, because it's like another level for me. Keep on doing, stay motivated, and see you next week.